Sí, hola, hey, bienvenidos a Gamesover. Jugamos a Disco Elysium de Final Cut y estoy aquí mirando que tengo un punto de habilidad. Y quiero que me lo voy a poner aquí, en Sourfair. Es que voy a tirar su noticia, tuve que hacer mucho algo. Voy a subir este. Decidido. Tengo cosas. Tío de... Tira. Tira excusa del agua. Qué mierda. Reemplaza la voz de la bola. Reemplaza. Esa me propone hoy. Vale, vamos para afuera. Vamos con este.
A thin man is smoking below an exhaust hood, occasionally sipping from his mug. This must be the Whirling's cook. As you step in, he nods toward the table and says something in a completely foreign language. The only words you can make out are Garanci and Kubek. Okay, it's definitely not his name. Whatever you do, please don't call him Garanci Kubek. Please. It's not funny. The man puts his cup down and replies something, his left hand drawing arcs in the air. He smiles and bangs his ladle against each of his pots in turn. It's almost like music, especially with the sounds of assorted dishes boiling and simmering on the stove.
Qué bonito.
You see a heavy steel door with a prominent dimple lock. It's painted blue. The cobalt blue surface feels rough to touch. The stainless steel door is flush with its frame on every side. Old cobalt paint, rough on the fingers. 40, 50 years since this was painted, maybe. It leads to a side building, adjacent to this one. The old building next to this, half ruined. Whatever is behind it must be older.
You do? It's a door in the back of the kitchen. Why do you care where it leads? Yes, I suppose it's worth seeing if we can get in. Just to be thorough, as a side investigation. If you say so, Gart is the person to ask about this, the cafeteria manager.
Vale, el gerente, claro. A ver si tiene la llave, no va a tener la llave. Si me deja la llave. Yo soy policía, chaval. Déjame la llave, que eso es un asunto policial. Oh, madre, tío, que tengo de todo. Vale, hay una... Hay un... Vale.
Can I help you? Mine? No, it belongs to the Whirling in Rags.
Thank you for clearing that up. Why do you keep the container locked?
Why? To keep the hobos and drunks out. That's why. And the neighbors too. They put their trash there, and they don't pay for the garbage company.
I thought as much. And are you the only party with access to the trash container?
Well, yes. Us and the garbage disposal company.
It seems a little callous, doesn't it? Something stirs in you. Prod at him and find out.
Vale, hay una... Hay un... Vale. 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 Vale.
callous? What are you, Kras Mazov? Almost all establishments in Revachol keep their trash locked. The whirling in rags is not special in that regard.
Krasmazov, nom de guerre, was an economist and a historical materialist. He was a leading figure on the Grad side of the Centennial Revolution, where he headed the 9-day government. Mazov is considered the father of scientific communism, Mazovian thought, or Mazovianism. He killed himself.
No one was implying you were, officer. Where were we?
What do you need them for?
It concerns the case. Please cooperate.
Just bring them back once you're done, please. What thing? Oh, yes, that door, sure. There's nothing mysterious about it. It's just a door. No, I don't have a key. I don't know how to get there. And I don't care either. It's not like I've been wondering about it for 10 years. It's just a frit warehouse, probably. Or some boring storage space with a bunch of old junk and dust. Junk and dust.
He's attempting to maintain an air of indifference. It's absolutely not convincing.
Fine, okay, a little. But my job doesn't leave me time for wondering about one locked door in one of the cafeterias I manage. So, I haven't opened it. I have cleaned the whole place 100 times over, though, after the animals. And I haven't found a key, so good luck with that. Yes, not the whole damn union, thank God. Just the nastiest and loudest faction. They come here in the evenings. Dumb, unruly types. Think they're big shit. But they're good customers. They place big orders and always pay on time.
Que es lo que le interesa, ¿no? Que paguen a tiempo y hacen buenas.
We should find out who this Lord faction is, occupying the booth. Loudness means talkative, and we need info. We don't. We have to wait. They'll show up sooner or later. Men get hungry, even striking men. If not today, then they'll be here tomorrow.
There are these things called days. You sleep between them. He's saying they'll come after you've slept. Just making clear you got that.
What?
By the way, you should come back to this thing-based questionnaire if you see anything interesting in the whirling later.
Another thing. Great. I love... Yes?
De momento no le pago. Yo habría que registrarlo otra vez, a ese tipo. Vale. Vamos a ver dónde estaba. Aquí está el cadáver, ¿no? Vale.
There he still is, looking right through you with his white eyes.
Active decay.
He's about to blow! Cop's gonna blow Kuna!
¿Dónde está el contenedor? A ver.
This trash container is locked. The sliding lid has a pad with a well-oiled crack. The lock pops open. It should now be possible to simply raise the lid.
Pues mira, buscándolo de entrada del otro lado.
Don't. Maybe you shouldn't. The smell of rotten food rises to greet you. You see soggy cartons, dirty rags, and organic waste.
Desechos orgánicos.
We're just in time. This hasn't been emptied for over a week.
Among the threadbare kitchen towels, something catches your eye. A pair of denim trousers. As the legs of the slime-covered jeans begin to unspool from the garbage, a rank corpse smell fills the air.
The victim's clothes? Cadaverine odor is faint. If these belong to the deceased, they were removed when he was still in the early stages of decay.
Quitaron la ropa. Le quitaron la ropa
Drop
y
them in
robaron.
here, officer.
Vale, vamos
Guitar
a-
marked blue jeans. Pockets empty or emptied. He wore them with a belt, too. A white belt. The loops appear stretched, but the belt is missing. That's it. Do you see anything else in there? I have another bag here.
Something slimy catches your eye. A drab, long-sleeved shirt, olive-colored, appears from the food waste, dripping with pus.
This is a military-type overgarment. No label or serial number. This is the kind of rib-knit shirt that's worn over light armor to conceal it in an urban scenario. Anything more?
The rest of the rags are just kitchen variety waste. A yellow old mug that catches your eye. But
All right. We should go to Gart again and ask if he knows who put the clothes in the trash. It could be as simple as someone from the hostel cleaning the yard. Or that one. I'd advise against confronting that force.
Claro.
Not really. All we know is the victim's clothes are in the trash. The lid was locked and his establishment had the key.
Muy pequeño,
It's
claro,
just a small loose thread.
efectivamente.
the lieutenant nods, then looks back into the trash container. You pick out a broken mug with an oddly racist depiction of the yellow man frolicking in saffron, only in its social sensibility.
You've acquired an interactable item. Investigate this item further by going to the Interact tab in your inventory.
Uy, qué bueno, ¿no?
You see milk and egg rest with one broken egg in it, some pasta wrapper. Picking up the soggy packages somehow feels familiar. You've done this before. The movements are recorded in your elbows, the methodology in your fingers. You're used to this. A box falls into pieces in your hands. Batiste Soleil cereal. There are plastic pasta packages below, and turbo noodles. Nothing of note, however. It's just organic waste, cold and slimy on your hands. Apple and potato peels, mostly. Unidentified sludge, and the occasional chicken bone thrown in for good measure. But hey, what's this? A blue piece of plastic sticks out from the apple peels. It's shiny. Looks like the corner of something. Something larger. A clipboard. A blue plastic clipboard with moist papers hanging from it. They look badly damaged, but you can still make out forms and notes, written in a man's handwriting.
Officer, is that your paperwork? It is. Look. The plastic has the RCM street grid on it. You've even got an autopsy form in there. If you don't mind me asking, how did this get in the trash? Boring. Try dangerous. You should do a thorough inventory of that. Be sure some has not fallen into the hands of the RCM's enemies, organized crime or worse. Official notes sometimes contain informants' names, even undercover operatives. It will also not hurt to start taking notes on the case. Anyway, where were we?
Some items, such as the ledger you found, are interactable. Go to your inventory and select the Interact tab to read your paperwork.
Vale.
The container sounds a muffled gong.
That's one thing off the list. I think we got it all.
Vale. Interactúa con la taza.
It's just a racist mug. What's there to read here? Not much. Oh boy, here we go. What are you going to say about a broken, tossed-away mug that you dug out of the garbage?
Oh. Joder.
But it was in the trash. Why not just call it out when you see it? Or do some volunteering work.
Pues sí.
Just... It's the ledger you found in the trash. A pitiful cabbage of white and yellow papers hanging from plastic board, barely held together by a metal clip. This sad display is made complete by the faint smell of urinal cleaner. There's a piece of toilet paper, or is it cleaning tissue? No, it's toilet paper, desperately sticking to the back of the blue plastic clipboard. It's a metaphor for you. They're not exactly white. They're yellowed in patches by sunlight and alcohol, and covered in dense blue handwriting. Ink escapes into watercolor patterns, reaching its tendrils across entire pages. The paper itself is checkered, with faint red lines forming. Once in a while, there's a red stamp that exclaims, "Case files commit to paper." The case files themselves are plenty. You count more than 100 sodden, crumpled up, earmarked pages falling apart in your hands. They appear to be sufficiently organized and extremely dense, if mostly illegible. Work, strife, poverty, the Jamrock Quarter. These are handwritten logs of investigations dating back to January 51, this year. The exact number is hard to estimate due to missing pages and an odd naming convention. But there are at least 20, maybe 30 cases undertaken, not completed, mind you. It's the middle of March. You have attempted 2 cases a week on average. What do you mean? Is that all? There is, for precisely one more. 15 pages near the end remain untouched by the damage. The checkered grid forms a structure of passages, breaking the case into subtasks to accomplish. Once all the tasks are accomplished, the case is complete. Sadly, the ledger only comes with an old, worn-down lead pencil. The ledger only comes with an old, worn-down lead pencil. It will do, barely. The lieutenant looks at his blue notebook. 2 fat, shiny pens hang from the binder, like he is not really saying anything, just standing there, looking at them.
Know that I give this to you with resentment.
The tasks you've completed flow out of the blue oblong pen in a brash freehand uncannily similar to the rest of the letters. The wording comes easily. It's almost robotically simple. A language developed for mental rigor and simplicity. Inspect the victim's body. Interview the cafeteria manager. It's not exactly poetry, but poetry would be out of place. A satisfying slash sounds across the paper. You're done, it seems to say. And you,
Es que es muy divertido,
and
tío.
you.
Es divertido, ¿eh? Y el
Things to
narrador
be
mola.
done and things already done. The composition of reality. This is an extremely useful tool for a detective of the citizens' militia. Now all that remains is to name the case.
No, actually. Any ideas?
El arca.
Great. That's great. That's actually what I was thinking too. The Hanged Man. Good, strong name. We have a very good name for the case now. I'm going to start calling it the Hanged Man. It's good we sorted this out.
Yes, it appears you employ a, shall we say, robust yet literary system. Each investigation has its case number written on the margins. Yet, still more tellingly, most are accompanied by a name. A title, one might say even. One that draws inspiration from snoop fiction and vespertine cop show staples. Arson, petty theft, spousal abuse. Handwritten logs on dozens of investigations date back to January 51. Stamped case files, commit to paper. These are your last couple of months in Revachol, Precinct 41, Jamrock Quarter. You don't exactly close them, so much as distance yourself from the smelly papers. There, in the back, you see thin, translucent copier paper, some neon yellow, some bright red, all covered in boxes, like marching armies. These look like official forms, waiting to be filled out. Then rip them from the binder and hand them out, according to type of form. 3. The topmost are misconduct fines, the middle ones are station calls, and the bottommost are field autopsy forms. Each is easy enough to make sense of.
Claro.
You
Diferente
don't
formulario.
have to be an intellectual giant to do police work. The rest of the stinking cellulose is much worse for wear. It's made of dark blue plastic, hard enough to beat someone to submission with. The edges are rounded, however. The U4 size board feels thick and heavy in your hand. Light shimmers on its wet surface. On the back you see the embossed letters, RCM. U4-sized pages hang from the clip, screwed to the top of the board. An aluminium block runs the width of the board, biting down on the paperwork. Its crocodile teeth are the only thing keeping the papers together. A regular pencil, the tip worn down to nothing, has been attached to the clip. The surface is interrupted by a silvery sticker. It's rectangular, sparkling with iridescence. You don't know how you didn't notice it before.
Buah, es que es increíble
Looks
este
like
juego.
an official mark, made to be low visibility outside the right circumstances.
What? That thing. It's a halogen watermark. We use it for adding information to RCM property. It depends. Aside from an anti-counterfeiting stamp, mine has my station number and address. The information varies by date of issue.
Maybe yours will have how many cases you've solved.
Okay.
While a bunch of sodden papers sag from the clipboard in your hand.
Lo guardamos. Ya interactuaremos. Vale, vamos a ir a... Tenemos que volver. Por aquí, ¿no? Por derecha. Es que era...
An old call box with a matrix of push buttons lists all the companies in the East Delta Commerce Center.
Sí, por después de todo. Tenemos que volver a preguntar.
Can I help you? Thanks. I hope you found what you were looking for. How strange. I certainly didn't put them there. The trash collection service, CS Municipal. I don't see why they would put anything in the trash, though.
Ah, the elusive CS Municipal. I doubt we'll be able to track down who was sent here last and when. This will have to be one of those little threads that solves itself down the road. Thank you anyway.
Sylvie had the keys before I got here, and I can vouch for her. I can vouch for all my stuff. None of us would tamper with the crime scene.
Gracias, Olmo.
Yes. Yes. Have you got it? For the room, 60 real. For the room, 60 real. Like what? I was rarely enjoying talk. Yes. Have you got it? Yes. Absolutely out of the question.
Absolutely in the question. First we find a sad banger. Then we sing this place to shit. Your body is ready, sire.
Voy a preguntar esto.
The man ponders his cooking utensils and gives you a little nod. He looks up at you, then looks away quickly, shrugging and muttering something to himself. Shrugging is an international sign for, no, I don't know what's behind that door.
Hello again, sweetie. I see you.
The lieutenant nods politely.
¿Sí quién es?
The worker is in a deep slumber.
Tengo que sacar un prueba física 3, desgraciadamente, ¿no?
You gently shake his shoulder, but nothing happens. This, the man does not mind. You probably need them more than he does.
You've just picked up some magnesium. This item is stored in the bottom left corner of the screen above your character portrait. Use magnesium to heal your morale if you have morale.
Vale, bueno, sí. Vale, aquí tengo que preguntar yo lo de... A Kuno. Ah, Kuno, claro. Al niño. Al niño. Claro. Kuno, ¿qué pasa? Siempre un
Fuck,
placer.
does Kuno care? The fuck about it? You're testing Kuno.
Get lost,
You found Kuno's secret door to Kuno's secret shack. It was closed for 5,000 years. How the fuck did you get in? And then what? You fucking there? You fucking Kuno's kingdom.
He's trying to fuck at you again, Kuno.
That's where Kuno gets his daily hit of electric. Kuno Shazam. Kuno rides the fucking lightning in there, pig.
Bet you'd like to ride the lightning too, wouldn't you? You feel tired and old, but you could have that sparkle in your eyes.
It's a vitamin, pig. Don't you know anything?
You could use some.
Yeah, it's the mag. You fucking need that shit to stay on top of your game. Kuno goes through like a tube a day, rips mag like a motherfucker, and you could use a battle.
Oh, don't teach him, Kuno! He's gonna use it against you, Kuno!
You're not getting this, pig. It completely takes away the hangover. It's like you didn't do anything. Like you stayed home playing with your choo-choo.
Fuck you, pig! Don't do mag! You're gonna OD and you're gonna fucking die!
Course you fucking can. How do you think Kuno made all the docky boys his gimps? Just gotta fly, pig. Kuno knows. Kuno and C saw you shit yourself. It's okay, pig. Not everyone can face the fear Kuno style.
That's all there is to it then. Don't be a pansy. Just jump.
Is it? You got pretty fucked. Kuno's surprised you've still got your head after all that. Whatever, piggy. Oh, that? Kuno decapitates pigs. That's just a Kuno demo tape.
What?
What is this shit? Fucking on yourself. This is weird level shit. Kuno doesn't go there.
Fuck your shit back to normal! What is this?
Well played. No one saw that coming.
Good call, Pigmeister. Don't come and talk to Kuno about his kingdom. The fuck do you want with it? Good call, Pigmeister. Don't come and talk. Kuno doesn't
Hear that? Magnesium. That's what you're lacking. The lack of magnesium has you slouched. There he still is, looking.
Active decay. It's a...
He's about to blow!
Espera. Guante, gafas, pantalón, mano izquierda, sombrero, mano derecha, balas, objetos. Bolígrafo.
There he still is, looking right through you.
No.
What do you see?
Vamos a revisar todas. Vamos a revisar todas. Oye, pero tío. Lo de Kuno.
Kuno, the pig's getting pretty... Looks like it's time for me to go, Kuno. I'm going away for a long, long time, Kuno. Going away...
What's going on there? Fuck are you trying to pull, pig?
Murder was the case they gave me.
Joder.
Fuck does Kuno care?
Es que es imposible. Empatía 1. Legendaria 14. Muy bien.
The fuck do you want with it? Is it? You got... Don't sweat it, drunk.
He's saying you climbed up there. He probably saw you do it. Yet, that conclusively explains how the coat got up there.
Good call, Pigmeister. Don't come in. Kuno doesn't...
Es que a ver cómo coño hablo yo con Kuno de eso. De la ropa de la víctima. Espera. Y aquí subes a la trampilla. Lo único que queda... ¿Qué es eso? Sí, curioso. No puede estar. Oh, dinerito. Vale. Bueno, no está mal. No está mal. Un poco de basura. Por ahí no se puede pasar. Ni venir aquí. Intentamos forzar esta puerta con la palanca. ¿Posible?
A tarpaulin cloak with possible RCM
Desafiante.
markings is still caught on the railing.
Hostia, tío. Un 42%. Vamos a por ello. ¡Toma! ¡Lo he conseguido! Soy un puto crack. ¡Ah!
As you leap in the air, a chilly breeze engulfs you, sharpening your senses.
Bien.
As the concrete floor welcomes you, you realize it's been a while since you felt so alive, alert.
I knew you could do it. My climbing down might not have been
Vamos.
as disco as your jump, but at least we can explore the harbor now.
With your feet firmly planted on the concrete, the noise of the harbor rushes back in.
Escucha. Ropa. Ah, estoy. Spin de calls y la otra. Ostras. Ostras. Una camiseta no me vendría mal. Ostras. ¿Qué puedo entrar aquí? La radio emite extraños zumbidos. Una silueta enorme de un trasteo en el cojín y marcas de café en el reposabrazos. Alguien acostumbra a alejarse junto a la radio.
An imposing combination of a punch clock and a payphone is looking down at you from the wall. A note on the side says, "Tokens unavailable due to strike. Use change."
Vamos a darle.
The machine swallows your coin and seems to be waiting for your next move. Your fingers run over the dial pad. 005. That's the dialing code for Revachol. 4952, and a moment of hesitation before entering the final numbers. 993.
Hostia.
Calling.
¿Qué pasa?
Calling.
No estoy en casa.
Still calling. Then,
Video Revachol, 24-hour video rental. We rent 8 and 10mm film for home use. This is Lammy. How may I help you?
the voice of a youngster on the other end sounds as enthusiastic as that of a man walking towards the gallows.
Video Revachol is a 24-hour video rental. We rent 8 and 10mm film for home use. This is Lammy. No. Maybe you called to extend your rental period? Do you need to extend your rental period? If you need any further assistance, you can visit us on the corner of Voyager and Main. I can't help you over the phone. Are we done?
The call is terminated by the other party. You're left with the discomforting sound of the disconnect tone.
Máquina de café encendida. El archivador de toda la vida. Los cajones cerrados con llave.
On second glance, someone has forgotten to properly close one of the drawers.
It's unfortunate for the union to just leave their paperwork lying around like this.
The drawer opens smoothly. Inside is a well-organized selection of brown folders. Hundreds of documents containing logistical data. Two kinds of transactions stand out. Materials coming into Revachol from the outside world, from Muindi, Grad, and even Ilmara. And the same materials being handed over to companies inside Revachol. Kuron, Coal City, La Delta, and Jamrock are listed among the many districts where the imports are being sold. It's hard to make sense of this thicket of company names, dates, quantities, and percentages. You try to focus, but the lines are getting blurry. Look how blurry all the lines on these papers are. How unwieldy your own willpower is to yourself. You're like hermeneutics was almost within your grasp, but now only vague letters float before your eyes. Less meaningful, but aesthetically
Dejaremos la
more
carpeta.
pleasing.
Mejora tu voluntad.
The drawer slides shut smoothly.
Una máquina de escribir, modelo de Wii y el nombre figura en la parte posterior. El logo es un sistema. Una tarjeta. Una fuma. Vamos a investigar por aquí.
This is the night watchman's booth. The name on the door reads, René Arnaud. Listen, it's okay to take a few minutes to yourself. Sit down and have a breather.
¿Quiere trabajar René?
If you must. But please hurry. We are pretty easy to spot up here.
Nothing incriminating catches your eye. The cabinets are clean and their sparse contents meticulously organized. There's a framed photograph on the table. It's a black and white photo of a young couple out in a street fair. The man, René, is dressed in a Royal Carabinieri uniform. The girl is young and very pretty. She is smiling playfully at the camera.
Why did you take that picture of René? You're really interested in that old soldier. Not sure I understand your fascination, but sure, as long as it doesn't take up a whole lot of time.
The chair is not as austere as the rest of the booth. A thin grey pillow is attached to the seat, secured to the stiles by black ribbons. Stale air floods through your nostrils. Not a single mote of dust floats inside your lungs, though. The inside of the booth is immaculate. The drawers are empty, save for old timesheets and receipts. One small box, however, does hold some cheap painkillers. They are slightly out of date. You stand and exit the booth.
Tengo cosas.
The front of this quarterly journal features a large satirical portrait of the late King Friesel. From the sides of his head, a pair of white antlers spread to the corners of the cover. To your disappointment, there aren't any full-color pictures to direct your attention. Just column after column of closely set text, interrupted occasionally by little doodles in black and white. After rifling the pages with your thumb several times, you return to the table of contents. The magazine is divided into several sections: international development, Kunst und Kultur, and local concerns. Just inside the cover, there's also an editor's note. Unsurprisingly, much of this section is taken up with articles declaring unqualified support for the dock workers' strike. You skim the headlines. Paint the harbor red and white. Martinez tames the wild pines. A city in revolt. First we take Martinez, then we take La Delta.
Hostia.
Finally, there's a brief article by the writer G. Martin accusing the owner of the Capeside apartments of illegally attempting to evict certain communist tenants simply for not having paid their rent. The eternal problem, according to G. Martin, is that under capitalism, the worker is rendered incapable of perceiving their own agency or lack thereof. Thus, they tend to experience their own oppression as though it were happening to somebody else. You flip back to the front of the magazine. The table of contents unfolds before you.
Vale, ahora mismo. Vale. Pregúntale a René sobre la fotografía. Vale, no. Eso es el miércoles. Estamos a... Listo. No me alquilaría por doquier. Ahora en calma. Vamos a investigar, joder. No me puedo caer en este juego, ¿no? A ver si ahora por correr resulta que te puedes caer. Ah, dinerito. ¿Dónde vaya? Vale, es esto que se puede ver.
A rusting control panel with several knobs. 2 buttons marked Marsh and Arret are faded with use. It seems to control the large crane above. A container is attached to its hook block. Marsh on, Arret off. With a loud grind, the crane shifts overhead, moving a massive metal container through the air.
Claro que sí.
And, with a surprisingly quiet thunk, the crane places the container down. The harbor sleeps as the strike rages in the distance. The crane can rest again, now that its purpose has been fulfilled. Move in this container, of course. For this purpose it was built. For this purpose it has acted. And now it will rest.
Ya, ya.
I can't see how that was worth the wreckers, except for seeing the crane in action, which I admit was satisfying.
The crane does not return to its original position. It does not move at all.
Vale. Entonces me está diciendo que podemos ir por aquí. O investigo antes por arriba.
Before you stands a cargo container.
You do? Because I don't. There are a million containers here. Why are you fixating on this one? There may very well be, but we are not here to look for that. We are not here to interact with containers.
You attempt to turn the handle, to no avail. The doors seem to be mechanically locked. To your left, the lieutenant considers your actions with some puzzlement. No reply. The knock produces a hollow ring of metal. Doesn't sound like there's
la
anything
puerta que se
inside
abre.
the container.
Vale, vale. Convencer a la puerta de que se abra. ¿Qué es esto? Huele a sangre. Guantes. Contactos sin filtros. Oh. Ahora tenemos aquí. ¿Este señor? ¿Quién es ese señor? ¿Qué espada?
Before you is a walrus of a man, seated behind a large desk. He looks up from his work, not the least bit surprised to see you.
Es muy fuerte este juego, tío. Me trae recuerdos de cuando del Monkey Island y de juegos así de aventura gráfica, pero además implementa lo de las tiradas y el rol y tal. Está muy guapo.
With great effort, he straightens himself up in his chair, yet says nothing. He simply stares at you. With a mixture of expectation and impatience, well bottled.
Welcome, Mr. Dubois, Mr. Kitsuragi. It's good of you two to stop by. Please, have a seat. I'm Everard Clare, head of the Debarders Union here in Martinez. I'd offer you my hand, but unfortunately my health prevents me from getting up. You understand?
He looks extremely comfortable. The tiny folding chair, on the other hand, looks like a torture device.
You go ahead, detective.
Whatever he has in store for you, it can't be good, he thinks. I'll do my best.
Vale.
Forget about that. What's with this Dubois stuff? You're getting some seriously bad vibes from that name.
Please, Mr. Dubois, let us converse in a civilized manner, as equals. Take a seat. I insist.
It's nothing. Yes, that's probably right. It's nothing. Forget about it. Filter it out.
Excellent, Mr. Dubois. I can see that you're a reasonable man, and reasonable men can be of great use to one another. So tell me, how can the head of the Debarders Union help a representative of the Revachol Citizens Militia today?
The chair you're sitting on has got to be the most uncomfortable chair in the world. It's violating your backside.
Oh, by the way, I heard you got a rather rude reception from a certain Lawrence Gart. Some people have no manners, it pains me to say. This should take care of that nonsense. It should be sufficient to cover your expenses for a few days and patch over your differences with a cafeteria manager. Go ahead, take it.
Wow, that's 25 real. That's good money. You need it.
Is there anything you'd like to say to me? Or... don't mention it, but also don't forget it. I'm just kidding, of course.
He's not.
Now, I'd like to set your mind at ease about one other matter. Your lost gun. Let me assure you, Union people are on it as we speak. I've got my best hounds looking for that lost gun.
His slug-like lips move, but all you hear is an echo. Lost gun, lost gun, lost gun. The world is swallowed by a black hole of fear. Only two words escape its gravitational pull. Lost and gun. Oh God, why didn't you think of this before? Cops have guns. Where's yours?
Dios.
Fuck love. This is your gun. This is serious.
Are you all right, Harry? You seem anxious.
Hijo de puta.
Don't be. Everything's going to be all right. It's not like you left it loaded. You didn't lose a loaded gun. Local children aren't out there playing with it right now, pointing it into their own mouths. It's in a safe place. I just know it. I have a feeling everything's going to be all right.
It was loaded. There were 2 bullets in it. You always keep at least 2 barrels loaded.
Officer, we will deal with this later. We don't need Mr. Clare's help with this.
I wouldn't be so sure about that.
No puedo, tío. Mantener la compostura. No
God, you're sweating. Your knee is jerking. You're about to cry, aren't you? You're about to cry because you lost your gun and those children are gonna shoot themselves with it.
Mr. Dubois, you don't look so good.
Hijo puta.
Despair creeps into you, getting fat on your weakness. Whatever noble intentions you once had as a police officer, it's eating them all up now. You're still coming up with sentences. That's a step up from total annihilation, right?
Yes, it can be difficult to be on the receiving end of so much distrust and outright hatred.
Nothing you can say would make you feel any better now. Cop gives up the detective genre for social realism. Another police officer resigned from the RCM following a nervous breakdown. He now lives under a bridge, drinking and occasionally throwing excrement at passers-by, shouting, "I never loved that woman." When asked to comment, former colleagues...
¿Qué dice? ¿Perdido la partida? Hostia. He ido totalmente... Hostia, menos mal que tienes autosave ahí, macho. Qué bajona. No me voy a sentar. Voy a ser agresivo. A ver qué pasa. Ahí pasan ya los dos. Ahí los
Before you is a walrus with a mixture of expectation.
Welcome, Mr. I'm Everett. I'd offer you my hat.
He looks extreme.
You go ahead, detective.
Whatever he has in store for you, it can't be good, he thinks. I'll forget about that. What's with this Dubois stuff?
Please, Mr. Dubois. Let us converse in a civil... Very well, Mr. Dubois. I, too, have convictions. One of which is that I will not engage with any man who won't face me at eye level. Should you find yourself more amenable in the future, I'd gladly resume our conversation. But until then, I'm afraid I must ask you to leave.
O sea, que me tengo que sentar ahí.
You're no Titan affiliation, buddy. He's got you in a fork. Sit down or leave.
Me voy.
Lonesome, long way home. Here we go. Home awaits. Walk past Station 41 and through the market, past the Boogie Street spearhead to the other side of the lake, the frozen eye at the center of the district. Then past the video rental store on the corner. There, at the end of a street lined with pine trees, a small house no larger than a matchbox. 11 Voyager Road. You no longer live there. Those times are gone. And so are those people. Why did you come here? Why are you still here? And where's the dealer? You have to get back to work. That's all you have now.
Bien. Creo que aún no estoy preparado para enfrentarme a este sin grandes consecuencias. Entonces, no, vamos a ir para atrás, no quiero palmarlo. ¿Sabes? No quiero palmarla, que me desmoraliza. El del sindicato me desmoraliza, tío. Vale, entonces, aquí venimos a ver el del sindicato. Podemos hablar con este tipo.
Container, container, I'll turn you nice and red. Container, container, put the logos on.
The lyrics to this container song are being made up as he goes. The accent is so thick, it's impossible not to notice he's Ubi, from the vanishing peninsula of Ubisund on Muindi.
Container, container, used to be Wild Pines. Container, container, now belongs to Everard.
Suena bien,
Everard, 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 he looks after everyone. Huh? Well, hey there. How can I help you, mister? I see you are not a union man, mister. Did you get lost? You're not one of them scabs, are you? I mean, I don't personally mind. Folks is just folks, you know, and folks gotta eat. Just some of the other guys don't look too kindly on the scabbing kind, if you know what I mean, mister. Oh yes, born and raised in Irish, mister. Mum had to leave my dad after he got a bit violent. Took us here to the new world. I was about 10 then, too old to lose my accent then. People say us Ubis are up to all sorts of trouble with sheep and other animals and whatnot. I just want you to know there was never any of that where I come from. No, sir. Those are just nasty rumors.
Thank you for clarifying that, sir.
Yes, yes. Everybody needs a job, and this is mine. I'm Leonard, by the way. Leonard Bellick. But everyone calls me Leo. I'm like Mr. Everett's right-hand man when Mr. Edgar is out of town, and Mr. Edgar's right-hand man when Mr. Everett is away. Actually, Miss Beaufort is the right-hand man, but she's a lady.
Who is this, Miss Beaufort?
A real pretty lady with a skin like those douce sucre candy bars my missus likes so much. Them are real nice to suckle on once the dinner is done and me and the missus sit down beside the radio. But I can't listen to the radio all the time. There's so much to do around here and I'm always busy keeping things running here. Yes I am, yes I am. Oh, Lizzie. She is a real sharp tool. Mr. Everett put her through some fancy school and everything, east of the river. 4 years she was gone, and when she came back, she was all fancy and lawyerly.
He respects that word. That's obvious.
But she's a real nice girl. Grew up in this here neighborhood. Knows everybody and gets along with everyone. Real pillar of the community one day, I'm sure. If me missus and me was to have a child, I'd be real happy if she turned out like her. But she can't have kids. Dr. Lemaitre said so, and she knows about such things. Been a doctor for almost 50 years, she has.
So Everett trained a lawyer named Miss Beaufort. Interesting.
Yes, this place really seems to run like clockwork. Keep it up, Leo.
Well, thanks a lot. Coming from you, it means a lot, really. Sometimes I feel some of the guys don't really get how much I bust my ass for them here. But you guys are alright. Oh, I'm just making some covers for them containers here. Yes I am, yes I am. So it's easier for the crane operators to spot them.
The containers in the yard are green in Wild Pine's livery, and the mountains rising behind Leo is all red in Union colors. It's like some red infection was spreading outwards from the container yard's core. There appear to be cisterns underneath the Union container covers.
No, not really. Mr. Everett doesn't tell me all the big things. Says I go and tell them to everyone. Oh, I don't know, mister. They say it's some chemicals. Most of them have labels on them, I think.
Yes, they are hiding it from the inside. All the red containers have the Debarders Union logo on them.
Oh, no trouble at all, mister. No trouble at all. Oh, that one. That should be empty as far as I know. Lots of containers here have nothing in them. They're just waiting to be loaded up.
Told you.
Oh, most of the guys are down at the gates, keeping the scabs from coming in. We're on a strike. The whole union is. You don't have to work when you're on strike. Ha! We haven't worked for 2 months now.
So no one is working?
Not everyone is down there, of course. Mr. Everard is in his office, where he always is. And Jean-Luc is guarding the gate. But Titus and his boys got into some drunken trouble and Everard sent them on a nice vacation. For a week or so. Oh, I'm not really supposed to talk about that. That's union business. Him and his boys stirred up something in town. Probably drank too much and got into a fight or something. I heard Mr. Everett telling them to take some time off. I guess the boys got a bit too rowdy and had to let out some steam. I don't really know the details. That's just how boys are, you know. I haven't been in a fight since I was in middle school.
Easy, Leo. Let's keep this on the hearties.
Look at him. It's not going to be anything useful anyway. Don't fight it. Better to go with the flow.
I remember I was the runt of the class. The bigger boys always used to pick on me. You see, I had a bit of a temper back in the day. Flew off the handle like nobody's business. But Mr. Everett and his brother always came to help. Once they beat old Noel Becker so bad he needed stitches on his head. Noel never started another fight with anyone after this. Mr. Everett and Mr. Edgar are real nice guys, mister. You should go talk to Mr. Everett. I'm sure you'll be good friends. He's friends with everyone around here.
Vale, un momento. Los Hardy. Vale. Titus y sus amigos. Titus y sus amigos.
Oh, you want Mr. Everett then? He's an awfully nice fellow, he is. Him and his brother are both nice fellows. They've lived their entire lives in this here neighborhood. Guys like Mr. Everett and Mr. Edgar, his brother, are real good guys. Made Martinez what it is today. Mr. Everett and Mr. Edgar and I went to the same school we did when we were boys. Oh, Mr. Everett is where he always is. In his office, of course. Bye-bye now.
Vale, Dinerito. Vale, nos vamos. No estamos preparados para que al Mr. Edgar ese, el Ractocrata.
Before the cargo container. Its drawer has not lessened.
Aquí hemos terminado,
A rusting control panel with several knobs. No screech of metal when you push the button. No screech of metal when you push the...
¿Te imaginas que le doy y se jode? Vale. Pues esto es todo por aquí. Voy a entrar por aquí, bajar y tal. Está bien. Vale, sí, hay una salida. Hay una salida. Ah, que es por aquí. Hostia, o sea que tengo que hablar con el líder de sindicato sí o sí. Para que me haga todo el puto lío. Y me mate. ¿Qué me dices, tío? Ah, o sea que hay que ir por cojones. Hablar con él. Y que me haga todo el puto lío.
Mr. Dubois, I hope time is on your side this time. Please, take a seat. Excellent, Mr. Dubois. I can see that you are a reasonable man, and reasonable men can be of great use to one another.
Vamos a seguirle todo el rollo.
So tell me, how can the head of the Debarders Union help a representative of the Revachol Citizens Militia today?
The chair you're sitting on has got to be the most uncomfortable chair in the world.
Oh, by the way, I heard you got a rather rude reception from a certain Lawrence Gart. Some people have no manners, it pains me to say. This should take care of that nonsense. It should be sufficient to cover your expenses for a few days and patch over your differences with a cafeteria manager.
Wow, that's 25 real. That's good money. You need it.
Don't mention it.
De buen rollo.
But also don't forget it. I'm just kidding, of course.
He's not.
Now, I'd like to set your mind at ease about one other matter. Your lost gun. Let me assure you, Union people are on it as we speak. I've got my best hounds looking for that lost gun.
His slug-like lips move, but all you hear is an echo.
Me meto en
Lost
eso,
gun,
tío.
lost gun, lost gun. The world is swallowed by a black hole of fear. Only two words escape its gravitational pull. Lost and gun. Oh God, why didn't you think of this before? Cops have guns.
Me da igual. Joder.
It's gone. Your gun is gone. There's
Are you all right, Harry? You seem anxious. Don't be. Everything... It's not like you left it loaded. You didn't lose a loaded...
It was loaded. There were 2 bullets in it. You always keep at least 2 barrels loaded.
Officer, we will deal with this later. We don't need Mr. Clare's help with this.
I wouldn't be so sure about that.
Yeah.
Officer, we will deal with this later. We don't need Mr. Clare's help with this.
I wouldn't be so sure about that.
Aceptar que sigue me dan más por una sorpresa. Así que está también.
Officer.
I wouldn't be so sure about that.
Fallo,
God,
muerte.
you're sweating. Your knee is jerking. You're about to cry, aren't you? You're about to cry because you want to cry? God, you're weak. Whatever you do, don't cry.
Me da igual.
Mr. Dubois, you don't look so good.
-1.
Despair creeps into you. getting fat on your weakness. What you're still coming up with sentences. That's a step up from total annihilation, right?
¿Verdad? Lo dejo.
I don't dispute that you have been charged with protecting the people of a...
Nothing you can say would make cop give up.
Acabas ahí. Vale, si me meto en puerto... Pues si me meto en puerto... Mal. Mal porque no tengo escapatoria. No tengo vuelta atrás. O entro aquí... No, aceptar el soborno, claro, claro. Te enfrentarías a una tirada menos. Lo del arma fue una sorpresa y tal. Hostia, qué guapo. O sea... Claro, no puedo entrar aquí. Ey, pero había hablado con este. Me lo habré guardado, tío. Si esto no lo tengo cogido. Ese es como si no hubiera hablado con él.
The lyrics, the accent.
I see you are not a union man, mister. I mean, just some of the other guys don't look too kindly on... Oh, that one. That should be empty as far...
Told you.
Oh, that one.
Told you.
Yes, yes. I'm like Mr. Actually.
Who is this?
A real... But I can't listen to the rape. Oh, Lizzie.
He
But she's a... If me miss doctor...
So Evra...
Oh, Lizzie.
He respects...
But she's a real nice... If me miss doctor...
So Evra trained a lawyer...
Yes.
Well, sometimes I feel some of the guys don't really get how much... Oh, I'm just making some covers for them containers here. Yes, I am.
Everything is so pretty and red. You and Leo look like brothers. The old man whistles and hums.
Oh, yes. Oh, people say...
Thank you for clarifying that, sir.
Oh, we're on a strike.
So no one...
No, but Titus and his boys got into some drunk... Oh, I'm not... Him and his boys stirred up something in town. I guess the boys got a bit too red.
Easy, Leo.
Look at him. It's not going to be anything useful anyway. Don't fight it. Better to go with the flow.
No te vas a...
I remember I was the run... But Mr. Everard and Mr. Edgar are real nice guys, mister. Oh, you want guys? Oh, Mr. Everard is where you... Bye-bye now.
Lonesome. Long way home.
Vale, lo tenemos. Vale, pero... Vale. Sí, pero... Tenemos esto, ¿no? Vale. Pues ahora. Guardado rápido. Vale. Lo guardamos. Pero... ¿Cómo vuelvo a casa? No puedo volver. Por un lado contenedor.
You're back before the cargo container. Its drawer has not lessened. Why are you even trying to open a door with rhetoric?
Because what wasn't an option? Are you satisfied, detective?
You attempt to your left. The lieutenant...
Yes? What do you want to know? I'm afraid you and I are pawns in a pissing competition. You don't know? I assumed you were in on it. That's good. It's just stupidity. We shouldn't waste any more time on it. If you want my take, ask me after we've inspected the victim. Later. Was there anything else you wanted to know about the case? No. it's not a particularly mysterious case. The deceased is a security guard for a corporation involved in a labor dispute. It doesn't take a DeLorean polymath to put the pieces together. I just don't see the case getting more mysterious than that. Then you are in luck, because we are in the midst of a major strike by the dock workers union. Maybe more than that. The union clearly wants a piece, not just of the industrial harbor, but the Wild Pines Corporation itself.
Is this a strike then? Or the first shots in a workers' coup?
I expect the case itself to be less challenging than navigating these community matters. This district isn't used to the RCM's presence, and the union rarely overplays its hand, as it appears to have done in this case. Strike, coup, revolution, it's brigandage, however you parse it.
You feel something rising through you, a familiar feeling, an opinion taking form.
When I said we have to navigate community matters, I did not mean we have any say in them. I meant we should be careful. If we are not, the shit will blow right in our faces.
From an imaginary fan.
Now, was there anything else you wanted to know about the case? Maybe you can tell me what you do know, to help me narrow it down a bit. Then you are not that far behind, actually. Do you want me to brief you? 3 days ago, the RCM Emergencies Desk received a report about a security guard who was found hanged in Martinez. An anonymous caller said there was a dead body behind the Whirling in Rags hostel cafeteria. The cadaver had been there for 4 days. No one had come to investigate. During that time, the victim had been stripped of his belongings. The caller did not identify him, but used the word lynching. There is an ongoing labor dispute between the local dock workers and the logistics company Wild Pines. I was told we should approach the death as part of this dispute. A security guard or worker of some sort hired by Wild Pines. They didn't identify themselves in any way. The tone was muffled using a device of some sort. The desk could identify neither the caller's age nor sex. There's a strong prejudice against involving the RCM in what's seen as union matters. The dock workers union is the de facto police in Martinez. Now it appears they've started executing too. We cannot allow that. Just to be clear, we are police officers. It's our job to find the killer. That's the case. And good.
Bien. Bien, vamos completando. Pero esto va a ser imposible. O sea, aquí estoy muerto. Estoy muerto. O sea, no tengo ni librarme de este tipo. Sí, yo puedo volver por aquí, pero... no puedo volver donde estaba. Necesitamos una llave.
The payphone hangs mute. The file cabinet stands steady as ever, and the unlocked drawer slides out to greet you. Hundreds of documents and the same material. You already went through all of these. The drawer slides.
Me he metido aquí muy pronto, muy pronto. Entonces no puedo salir, no puedo volver.
This is the night watchman's booth. The chair is not as or stale air floods through your nostrils. The drawers are empty. Save. You take the painkillers. Oh boy, don't think about that. Quick, think about something else. The enormity of the You stand and exit the booth. This is the night.
Ahora sí voy a poder aguantar. Ahora sí, tengo 5. 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. Incluso, espérate.
Before you is with great effort, with a mixture of expectation and impatience.
Welcome, Mr. I'm Everard Clare, head of the department. I'd offer you my hand, but unfortunately my health prevents me from...
He looks extreme.
You go ahead, detective.
Whatever he has, forget about that. What's with this Dubois?
Please, Mr. Dubois, let us converse in a civilized manner, as equals. Take excellent, Mr. Dubois. I can see that you're a reasonable man, and reasonable men, so tell me, how can the head...
The chair you're sitting on has got to be the most uncomfortable...
Oh, by the way, this should take care of... It should be
Wow, that's 25 real. That's good money.
Yes, I know, Lawrence. He's a real character. No union man in him. A real piece of work, that boy is.
With a grin, he points to the checker game. It's like you're on a game show. At least don't thank him for it.
Okay. I respect a man with principles. No handouts, then. Now, I'd like to set your mind at ease about one other matter. Your lost gun. Let me assure you, Union people are on it as we speak. I've got my best hounds looking for that.
His slug-like lips move, but all you hear is an echo. Lost gun, lost gun, lost gun. The world is swallowed by a black... Oh God, why didn't you think of this before? Fuck love. This is your gun.
Are you all right, Harry? You seem anxious. It's not like you left it loaded. You didn't live...
It was loaded. There were 2 bullets in it. You always keep at least 2 barrels loaded.
Lo tengo que hacer.
God, you're sweating. Your knee is jerking. You're about to cry, aren't you? You're about to cry.
Mr. Dubois, you don't look so good.
What is this, Mr. Dubois? He keeps repeating. What?
Mr. Dubois! Mr. Dubois! Harry!
Harry.
Mr. Dubois, are you okay? Can I get you a glass of water or something?
Maybe you could use your hands somehow, in a kind of throw-in motion, like you're throwing that Mr. Dubois act right back at him. He's Mr. Dubois.
What an odd demonstration of... you got me, Harry. I don't even know what. As entertaining as it was, I'm afraid we're wasting our time. And I'm an extremely busy man, as I'm sure you are too.
Okay, enough. We are here to ask you some questions pertaining to a murder investigation.
Bien, tenía la solución.
Quick, here's your window. Get yourself together and ask him questions. Police officer questions.
Oh, of course. That's your main thing here. That's why you're in Martinez. I know everything that goes on around here, and I would love to discuss it with you. I mean, it's no secret that the lynching is connected to the strike. So much to talk about. Honestly, It's been weighing on me so heavily. I understand you need to interview me. But there's a thing that's been keeping me up at night. I want to talk about the hanging. I mean, if we could just calmly talk, exchange information, we could blow this thing wide open.
Yes, that sounds good. Let's do that.
But I can't think straight with this thing weighing on me. You're police officers, aren't you? I have a crazy idea. You guys are basically door-opening machines, incredibly talented at opening doors. And I'm sure you're going to open this one with flying colors, Harry. This really is very simple, and there's nothing shady about it.
An excellent opportunity presents itself, sire. You could win the trust of the arch-liar, pretend to play into his hand. Then, should you wish, bend his efforts towards your own.
Vale.
Fantastic, my friend. Just let me know when it's done and we can take our friendship to the next level. You can get the key from Manana. He's down by the gates. Manana's like a free agent in the Union. Special operations. Hardened socialist. A real free thinker too. He'll tell you precisely where the door is. One last thing, Harry. Just open the door. You don't need to go in or anything. I just want that weasel to come home and see the unlocked door. Of course. Let us dispatch with the formalities. You call me Everard, I call you Harry.
Harry Duarte.
My God, so it's true. I didn't want to believe it, but you are a fantastic science fiction amnesiac cop.
I think the odds of that are very low.
It might be a good idea to hide your confusion. I mean, see what his game is first.
So good to hear that, Harry. Apparently my sources were wrong. However, if you did have a spot of memory trouble, I could help you out. With my big fat folder.
Words flow like a river of honey from his lips. I guess word has already reached him. No matter. No, it's just a brown folder. You can't make out what's written on it.
Are you trying to tell me you've gotten hold of some of our documents?
Mr. Kitsuragi, would you mind? Me and Harry are talking about his lost identity right now.
Don't just jump to the folder. That's not smart. Shows you're on the edge. Do some probing first. As you look at the folder, Everard covers it with his hand and pets it. He's hiding it from you because it's not a real RCM folder. It's just...
Okay, Harry, you got me. This is from the Census Bureau, not the RCM. Those Census Bureau people are absolutely corrupt. You should do something about them.
He got the name from the Census Bureau, and everything else from your actions here in Martinez.
Yes, Mr. Kitsuragi from the Census Bureau. Like I said, now I'm actually a very busy man, so is there anything else I can do for you, Harry?
That means he doesn't really know anything about you. A pity. The mystery of you will have to remain a mystery for the time being.
Yes, that's what I said. Try to keep up, okay? Let's move on. My dear Harry, there are literally millions of containers in this harbor. I couldn't possibly remember what's in all of them. Harry, you smooth-talking son of a bitch. Time is a precious resource, and I don't have enough of it to count containers with you.
Smooth talking. Maybe that's the way to go about opening the container. You should at least try convincing it.
Harry, honestly, I'm just relieved you didn't get a hernia. A man your age...
big man peers at you over the rims of his glasses.
Anyway, I assure you, I am a very well-informed man. Information reaches me before I even get the chance to request it. My dear Harry, there are I rarely do, Harry. I have people for that. Yes, your lost gun. My best men are on it. Your gun will be found, Harry. Let me...
The only way to find it seems to be working with him. He might even be holding your gun hostage.
Damn it, Harry. That's exactly what it means. I'm only kidding, of course.
Of course. I understand.
Wait. You need this to get in and out through the gate. Here, you're one of us now. A real red and white union man. Take care, Harry.
Bien, hemos salido. Adiós. Me han sobrado dos. Tío. No, sí, una copia, no puedo hacer.
Before the cargo container. Its drawer.
Nada bien. Vamos. Ahora sí. Ahora sí. Hablamos con este hombre.
Your body betrays your degeneracy.
Yeah, Measurehead. His body totally betrays his degeneracy.
Are you admiring my morphophysiology? It must be frightening to stand in the shadow of this racial pinnacle, because that is precisely the negligence that has led you to succumb to Al Ghul. You reek of it. An invisible sword of Al Ghul emerges from your throat. You cannot see it, but others can. It is making the woman in my company sick. No, you don't. You need to get another drink. Occidental Haplogroup B4 is done giving orders around here. The influence of the ham sandwich race is waning.
Does this remind you of someone? The guy down there?
Begging for help, attempting to pass via for cooperation. How far the Occidental Haplogroup has fallen. You were once a noble and powerful race. You gave the world eugenics, electricity, and powerful weapons of war like missiles and aerostatic aircraft. You made great gains in metallurgy, race theory, and statecraft. You dominated lesser cultures, like the deformed Hemians and the inexplicably potato-obsessed Khoikos. But now your ascent to the genetic summit has halted. You are obsessed with sadness and with frivolous pop culture. You will be superseded. Isn't that right, babe?
It is, baby, yeah. You know it.
Enough with this begging. You should leave the stage of history with dignity by inviting the other races to bring your troops to the city walls will be lined with...
You could internalize Measurehead's race theory. It would enrich you rhetorically. The best idea.
Voy a apoyarme.
Ask what kind of races there are first. Classification is core to this stuff.
Do you?
There are 3 categories of race. Type A, the heroic races. Type B, the servile races. And the vile CF race cauldron of pederasty. Which one do you need education on? Those are the Simonese, the Areopagite, and the Occidentals, excluding the Maun, of course. The Maun are riddled with eczema to the point where they find it impossible to smile. They are all lactose intolerant, a common result of inbreeding. A receding genetic pool has led the Maun on reprehensible street parades. In Maun cities like Stad's Canal and Vredefort, wearing wooden clogs on their feet and little green tassels on their hats. You know them by the names of their nation-states. The Oranese, the Gotwaldians, and the Königsteiners. My people simply call them Maun.
Maun is a derogative term for first world people of Gotwaldian descent. They do not all have eczema. Also, people of Katla, like the Suru and the Uhu, are much more lactose intolerant. You're welcome.
The Maun are proof that you can have too much Occidental racial purity and tassel-centric culture. Inbreeding has led to a lactose-intolerant subrace whom no one can take seriously.
Colorful tassels are, let's be honest, not a good sartorial choice for this century. You might want to avoid wooden clogs too.
The Vespertines and Messenians of Vesper and Messina, the ancient Meteorans of Meteo by the golden Pisantic Sea, the Suren of Sur-la-Clé, and even the North Königsteiners, all have type A race propensities. The other large mondial civilization, the Mesk, are too yellow and oleaginous to count as a heroic race. True, they are violent and expansionist, but they have a glandular problem. Overproduction of sebum. Sebum is leaking into their brains, making them listen to El Mariachi music and eat toxic minced meat-based food, which in turn only produces more sebum. As proven by the Maun and the Mesk, Occidental type A is in retrograde. The Simonese and the Areopagites are on the ascent. The Areopagites are sleek, long-headed. The Simonese are powerful, mesomorphic. The former is an immutable progenitor, unchanged since the Super Isola of Pericarnassus. Ancient brains rest in their slender skulls. The latter is perfected and adapting. Together they form the Simeno-Areopagite or Simeopagite super race. That is all. There are no more Type A races in the world. Type B are the unheroic races, amorphous non-competitors of the great race. The Khoikos and the Vacholiers, they are mud-colored people.
The Khoikos of Grad, Yugo, Zhimsk, Shest et al. Are what you would call white, officer, in a suspect description.
To an untrained eye, the Khoiko appear white and pinkish, like a ham sandwich. But look into their eyes and you will see. They are of an distinct muddy color, and so is their skin. Unhealthy, sweaty, and ashen. Pinkness is a racial quality that has to be earned through centuries of advanced ballistic warfare and cultural domination that the Grad people have undergone for drinking alcohol and smoking the degenerate tobacco herb and for eating potato. The Khoiko, the countless micronationalities of Grad, are all inexplicably obsessed with potat. The only thing they like more is dividing into microscopic ethnostates, like political amoeba.
Wouldn't he be one for ethnostates?
The Vacholians, halfway between Type A and the racial cauldron. Two mixed to know right from wrong. You tried your degenerate little revolution, which was the single greatest failure committed by humans in our 82,000-year history on this planet.
Is it 82,000 years that we've been recording history? You have very little idea of what is happening, but that seems a little off.
The revolution came to Ravachol from Grad, in Zaraz-ridden potato carts. It is literally an illness, a prion disease that leaves the parietal and frontal lobe ridden with holes. A soft, sponge-like mass of dementia, hallucination, and paranoia. The revolution is fatal familial insomnia. A hereditary prion condition passed from the Khoiko to the Occidentals. But not sexually. Probably through trade routes and potate acid, the prime component of the potato plant. Enough of Type mediocrity. Types CF are a museum of failed chimeric experiments and tragic maladaptations. They are tortured creatures waiting to be put to sleep. Your morbid interest in them worries me. Lesser races like the mosquito, a grotesque mixture of a masked woman and a Seminese man. Only possible if the mother is masked and the father Seminese. The other way around, they fail to produce offspring. The mosquito is born sterile, like a donkey. All they have left is to ride customized motor carriages with hydraulic suspension, listening to aggressive El Mariachi music to vent their impotent despair.
It seems unlikely that two human beings produce genetically sterile offspring.
Then there is the Simino Koiki Chimera. Are you sure you wish to know of the Simino Koiki Chimera? It is not an aesthetic site. The Khoiko, as you know, are very servile, especially when they meet the rich man. Racial scientists have toyed with the idea of crossing the Seminese with the Koiko to produce a super worker of Seminese strength and Gracias ability. This will never happen. The Seminese and the Koiko may have similar interbreeding problems as the mosquito. We will never know precisely. No Seminese man could maintain an erection in the suffocating potato stench of a Koiko woman, or Koika. But enough. It is cruel to entertain ourselves with the deformities of Type F. Were there any able-bodied races you needed education on? You understand nothing. To solve the great race enigma, you have to first ask yourself, what is the race enigma? You have not even worded the mystery, let alone solved it. You need to internalize what you have heard here today, then return to me. This clarity does not come instantly. I cannot possibly imagine what else we have to discuss, Tiberevasholian. Your love for disco music and venereal disease?
Vale, vamos a dejarlo de momento.
Hey. Hey, yes, you. Word on the street is you're ready to start building communism again. Yes, you're ready to start building communism again. You've built it before. They've built it before. Hasn't really worked out yet. But neither has love. Should we just stop building love, too? So, what about all that you keep saying things like, down with the bourgeoisie, eat the rich, sodomize the landowners, impale all people who have more than 25 real in their pocket, literally murder all human beings regardless of their political beliefs. That kind of stuff. Okay, not in so many words, but don't deny it. You're about to rip off that mask of social democracy and reveal the monstrous seven-eyed lamb of global communism that will devour and masticate mankind. Everyone can see that. So tell me, do you have any questions before we fire up the big communism builder? Or do we get right down to it? Very well. I guess no one will build communism then. Tell the working man it's over, unless no objections. It's mathematically impossible to achieve a class. Anyone? Anyone else? There's no one. Okay then. Lie down.
Vale, hay que ser el mismo de balance. Para eso. Interiorizando. Vale, pues lo vamos a dejar por aquí. Voy a guardar perfil. Voy ahí. Por aquí. Guay. Hostia, lo que sí que voy todo el rato. Con eso en la mano, tío. Perfecto. ¿Podré pasar el medio feo?
Kim also tries not to look at the pile of tape viscera on the carpet, or the weird suitcase on the hat rack. The man is finding it hard not to trip on the tape, and not to send any of the bottles rolling across the floor, where unidentifiable sludge makes it hard for him to breathe. Smells of vomit in here. He takes a step toward the door, like he'd like to leave.
Vale, lo dejamos aquí. Donde empezamos la primera vez. Hay cosas. Bueno, ¿qué es esto? ¿Una camisa? Si llevo camisa, tío. Oh. Lo he hecho mejor. ¿Y la camisa que tengo? Espacial, Sebastián.
A mirror hangs above a bent. Was this not the... Probably not. Hot water sprays from the faucet's base. Suddenly, you realize you have no memory of the face that awaits you there, underneath the soft vapor.
Vale. Lo dejo aquí, lo dejo aquí. Guardo la partida, guardado rápido. Terminamos el directo por hoy y nos vemos en el próximo episodio. Adiós.